Welcome back to Not Home Improvement.
This is not Tool Time with Tim Taylor.
No.
Tim the Tool.
This is To the Saints with RC.
This is Andrew.
Tyrone.
Just Allison.
And Carrie.
And Bridget.
Hey, we're glad to have you back. If you were with us last hour, what were we talking about? The priesthood.
P is for priesthood.
That's exactly right. Brought to you by the letter P. We were reframing things. That's the whole reason behind this theme, by the way. It's reframe. Oh, it takes a jackhammer from time to time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Home improvement.
Yeah, we're reframing. Dun, dun, dun.
The reframing conferences.
Yes.
The concept of conference and the experience of conferences.
Right.
What we're specifically speaking to are the mindsets, the ideas that people have attached to it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's time to do a little home improvement on this. See what I mean?
That was it? Okay.
Man, that was actually pretty good.
That was pretty good. Yeah, that was pretty good time.
I realized that was on there. What are you talking about? Yeah, it's time to reframe this whole idea of a conference. And we've talked about equipping and renewing, and this conference that's coming up, this To the Saints conference.
Yes, July 20th through the 23rd.
That's on our website, tothesaints.com.
Yes.
We're going to be doing that, addressing that, renewing and equipping.
We almost wanted to call our gathering something other than a conference just because of the mindsets that can be attached to other conferences we've attended, that we're sure other people listening have attended. But conferences is what it is, but we want to give you a better idea of what we mean by that.
Yeah. The kind of conference it's going to be. Yeah.
Yeah, and so before we give that idea, I guess we'll debunk some ideas about conferences, and this is based on our experiences with conferences. You may or may not have had those experiences.
Because to go along with reframing, there's oftentimes a deconstruction. Which is the painful cross part that nobody seems to like. I got it. That's the laying down of what we know.
Yes.
So we're going to deconstruct some things so that we can reframe and reconstruct.
The demolition.
Here comes the wrecking ball.
Yes.
Oh, bless.
I wish you had it right now.
I do too.
I'm glad you don't.
And so for
I came in like a wrecking ball.
No, it's fine. We got it anyways.
Yes, we got it. Thank you. And so one of the things we want to debunk about conferences is, for us, many of us, all of us, we've gone to conferences in the past where it's been about gaining information, just gaining more knowledge or information specifically so that you can apply it to your own personal ministry in some way, form, or fashion, as opposed to impartation. That is God's life coming through and transforming you from within so that he can have his way in you through the church. And there's a corporate aspect to that also. And it's like an information buffet. So you go there and there's all these different breakout sessions or whatever it is where you just go and learn this thing, you go learn this thing, you learn this thing, you check off all the boxes for what you wanted to gain. And then you leave and there's no connection. There's no connecting with brothers and sisters in Christ. There's no connecting with the speakers who may be there who are giving the impartation or even the information. It's just get this stuff, say hi bye to a couple people, and I'm back to my normal individual self-centered Christian life. And I'm not, that's not like an indictment. It's just kind of my experience. I'll say for me. So that's one of the things that to the Saints Conference, it's not just, we're not giving you information. This is impartation. This is the Lord's life coming out of those who may give a message and through the other brothers and sisters in some ways to each other. I say in some ways because there's going to be a lot of learning and equipping that'll be taking place that'll be necessary also, so people can learn how to, function. Yeah,
I'll share that life.
Yeah.
That's something like there will be speaking at our conference. You will be sitting and listening to speakers at different points.
Messages.
Yes. And that's, that's why one of the Lord's names is the Word of God.
Yes.
And hearing or faith comes by hearing. Right. So there will be that, but there's also going to be lots of opportunities for actually participating
yes.
in things. And not only just outside of the kind of scheduled conference time, meeting and connecting with other brothers and sisters, but we actually have some activities planned within the scheduled conference time for everyone to participate in.
Yes.
So that there is that another opportunity for that life to be imparted.
Yes.
Not just through the speaking. Like, so I was thinking, some of the conferences when we were in full-time ministry that we'd go to, we would literally have our notebook and we would come back with pages of notes. Pages of notes. And there would have been, like 5 or 6 different speakers, and basically the only opportunity you had with them was watching them up on the stage. And that's another aspect that's different with the impartation, is that Milt and John, our special guests, are going to actually be available to be engaged with outside of the sessions they're speaking at.
Yes.
Us as well, we're going to be there available for people for us to like really meet our brothers and sisters that are coming to this conference. And that's another way in which life is imparted and shared. Yeah.
That's good.
I was surprised the first conference I went to where Milt and John were there, and, I'd read much of what they'd written, and I kind of had this lofty idea of them, but they were just regular brothers in the Lord. It was beautiful. It was amazing to me.
Yep.
Even a little dorky like us. So there will be information, but we're more after that impartation.
Yep.
So another thing to debunk in conferences is that emotion feeling. That deconstruct this. So that whole emotion of, I'm coming to get my fill, to get my,
renewed.
Yes, recharged, refueled.
Get back to the top of the mountain.
Yes, back to the mountaintop. Lord of mercy. I took so many kids to youth camps, and over the summer, and those camps were like the one thing they looked forward to all year long. It's like they were living from camp to camp. They'd get their mountaintop high at the beach.
Literally, it was at the beach.
It was at the beach, but they would come back, but instead of applying any of it to their lives, it was a sustain mode instead of a thrive mode. I was there at one time too.
It was also something they didn't believe they could have except for there at that place.
With that experience. Like they had to elicit that experience to be able to feel close to God. But they couldn't have any other time.
They had to worship in a certain place, a certain mountaintop.
With a certain band that played certain music.
That made you feel.
That had certain speakers.
Yeah, but the true worshipers worship neither here nor there, but in spirit and in truth.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, so the reality is this conference is not going to be an emotional high. That's not what we're after anyway.
Right.
It's highly likely that because the Lord, will hopefully have the freedom to do as he wishes.
Right.
You will be impacted deeply. And this will be, akin to a mountaintop experience.
But it'll be a sustainable one because
it'll be something that's not just based out of our emotions.
Sustainable.
Yeah, that's the difference. Because our focus, our goal, or I couldn't even say that. It's always Christ. But our hope is that you come away better equipped.
Yes.
Not just with an emotional high.
Right.
But and that equipping will help hopefully sustain more than just an emotional high does.
Yes.
True that.
So another thing that we've kind of touched on and we'll talk about even more is
right now.
Because right now is when I'm going to bring it up. Is this idea of disconnected? How disconnected? I mean, gosh, I can't tell you how many conferences we went to while we were in full-time ministry. It at least one a year.
Sure, yeah. And
of
leadership
all different
kinds.
Oh my gosh, yes. We went to the Purpose-Driven Conference. We
yeah.
went to the Seeker Group Conference. We went to Postmodern Conference. And then, of course, all the conferences we took our youth to. It was just so many conferences. And we would very rarely have any sort of connection to anyone outside of the group that we went with. like very, very rarely. And, so you'd go and you literally would just get information because there was absolutely no connecting with other brothers and sisters. But we hope to really create an atmosphere where that is possible. Now, whether or not you take advantage of it,
Right.
There's a different thing.
there's nothing we can do about
Yeah,
that.
we can't do anything about that.
Yeah, but we
encourage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we are
Promote the environment for that
yes,
to
we are
happen.
seeking to create an environment where you have a really beautiful opportunity to connect with other saints. And if for those of you who have possibly stepped out of the institution and are looking for the Lord's heart, essentially, it can be very lonely. It can be very lonely
Yes.
at times, particularly in the beginning,
Yeah.
because this isn't very popular. And so this conference could be a real opportunity for you to come and connect with other saints who are,
On the same journey.
who are having similar experiences. And I mean, we live in the 21st century. Like, we have the internet and cell phones. And so it's really beautiful that we can have a level of connection. I don't think it's the deepest, best connection, but we can have a level of connection with our brothers and sisters who aren't physically where we are. That is awesome.
And like you said, even the speakers, our special guests, are going to be there for you to connect with.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a conference Bridge and I went to a few years ago, back in 2009. That's more just a few years ago. And one of the things was the speakers there, one of whom actually was Milt Rodriguez, who's going to be one of our special guests. They were so accessible. They came up to us because we were from Oklahoma, and this was in Texas, and we weren't supposed to be there because we weren't from Texas. And but they sought us out. And they're like, dude, you guys are the Oklahoma guys. Can we take you to lunch? How did you get here? We want to know. And so so part of that connection is even us, the six of us, will be there willing and able to connect with you, eat with you, fellowship with you, hear your stories. Not even just tell you ours, but to actually hear your story.
Oh, yeah.
And to offer some encouragement in that. And same thing with our special guests. And there will be even other coworkers we have who plan on being there that weekend that will be available to connect with you.
Well, and there'll be brothers and sisters from established churches
Yes.
that are planning on coming as well. So you can talk to saints who are experiencing this
Yes.
right here and now.
I mean, maybe there's been a topic we've talked about here on the radio, and you're really kind of wrestling with it, and you have some questions about it. It's a perfect time to ask one of those questions.
Yeah,
And,
one-on-one,
today
They
you
may
guys
not
were
have the
talking-
answer, though.
Right.
We'll just let you know.
That's why we got to call on Tyrone.
You better not call Tyrone. Don't call Tyrone.
That's good, Andrew. That's real good.
Yeah, thank you.
So yes, this will hopefully be a very our desire, and we believe the Lord's desire in this conference is to be a very connecting and connectful.
Yes. Connectful.
Is that
New word.
there? You go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and related to this connecting, I mean, it's not the primary purpose of the conference,
No.
but it is possible the Lord will connect people, even in Austin,
Yes.
to start meeting together in His time.
Yep.
Yes.
So that is one aspect of this connecting
Yes.
that may happen as a result of this conference in Austin, or people connecting in other parts of the country too.
Yes.
Yep.
Very true. Very true, Brother Andrew. That rhymed here. So go for it.
Just gonna say another thing that you may have experienced at a conference or two. I know I have, is the sense of sort of being on your own. Independent. I'm going to do this. I'm figuring this out for myself, and we're hoping that the To the Saints conference will be more of an interdependent event, meaning that we're learning how to depend on one another.
I was actually thinking this week in
That's
preparation for the radio show. I know, surprising. How unique it is what the Lord's doing right now, and how here in Austin, particularly amongst the six of us, because where else do you see a group of people doing something together where all are equal? You know what I mean? There's no one amongst us that is the one in charge, that is the leader, that we have to run everything through.
That was RC.
That's not true, Tyrone.
You need to debunk that thing.
You need to debunk that.
And I mean, it's really unique and exciting to me because we didn't plan it.
No.
Honestly, the Lord told all of us individually, I'm doing something in Austin and I want you to be a part of it.
Yes.
And so we showed up. I mean, we knew that the others
And
were
we
coming.
talked about it a little bit together, too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we didn't. It wasn't like,
what are you
oh my
doing
gosh,
here?
What are you doing in Austin? Wow.
How did you get to
But
the
I mean,
radio?
it wasn't like one person saying, "Hey, I'm doing this thing in Austin. You should come help me.
Right.
You should come help me do this thing in
Okay.
Austin."
Right.
And I'm really excited about the conference too because the conference is birthed out of that same life and has that same aspect where the Lord is doing something in a company of people.
Yes.
By a company of people and it's really exciting to me, and it's very interdependent, like you were saying. So yeah.
Yes. Interdependent is a very good word.
Another aspect of the conference is the idea of passive spectator versus active participant.
Yes.
I know we've touched on it already, but we're not sitting there just being entertained, just sitting there writing our notebook. There's also going to be opportunity to share life with each other. And this is different than an opportunity to share like your ministry with each other.
Yeah.
Or your own knowledge about the Bible.
Right.
Or
Right.
Yeah.
And so these opportunities to share together and share Christ's life together, edifying the body, will definitely be part of this conference.
Yes.
So you reminded me of something that I think we need to make very clear, because while this conference, is, we are people who have experienced organic church life. And so a lot of people can come to conferences like these and their expectation is, I'm going to experience organic church at this conference.
Right. Yep.
No, this isn't organic church. This is a conference.
Yes.
You will not experience organic church at this conference. Now, you can experience Christ.
Yes.
Yes.
You can experience his life,
Yes.
Which is organic.
which is organic. Yes. But a church is literally a living organism functioning together, being built together, growing up together, and manifesting Christ in that.
Yes, and learning to live by his life together.
Together.
Yes. And that's not something that happens on a weekend
Yes.
with mostly strangers.
Right.
I'm sorry, it doesn't.
Even somebody mentioned established churches earlier. That, basically, what we mean by that are groups of saints who are being built together, who are learning together to live by the indwelling life of Christ.
Yes.
And who will plan on who hopefully
And who
will
have
be
been
there.
for multiple years.
Yes.
So
That's good.
Yeah.
This isn't, and so some of that. So what I was trying to get to was this isn't, even the church is not a meeting based event.
Yes.
No.
Some people treat it as such.
Right.
Not event based.
As in like, oh, nope, I got to just prepare for the weekly meetings and that's
Yeah.
it. No, it is a lifestyle, a
Together.
living
Yeah.
sacrifice together as the Lord's body, together, day in and day out, together. And you cannot experience
Hey,
that
does
at
it have
one
to happen
event.
together,
Together,
RC?
yes.
Togethering.
Togethering.
Oh, I remember one other thing. It's together.
I knew he was doing that. Yes, and so just coming to one weekend saying, I'm going to experience an organic church meeting.
Yeah.
No.
So also, while there are going to be opportunities to participate, don't come expecting everyone to get to share. Because like we said earlier, you have to learn. That's the
Yes.
reality of it.
Yeah.
There
And
is a
part of that
learning and
is
equipping
watching.
of being able to actually share Christ's life versus our own life, our own religious knowledge, our own, religious ideals.
Which is different.
It is very different. And so you're not going to come and experience an every member functioning meeting.
Oh, man, there's something Sister Carrie has that is beautiful. She says, every saint or every member may have Christ to share, but not everybody shares Christ.
Right.
Because I can hear somebody saying, but I got Christ in me, I can share.
And you do. Yes.
You do.
You do have Christ in
Doesn't
you.
always come out that way, though.
Right. We have to learn.
We do have to learn.
Yes.
I had to learn. Bridget had to learn.
We all had to learn.
It's okay as you're learning.
It's okay. Yes, it's good.
And I think on the other side, don't not come to the conference because you might participate in something or you might be concerned about participating in something because there's at least 2 of us in this room that would have made me be like, oh, but I'm not going to that.
They're going to make me say stuff that I don't want to say and talk to people, and I don't know how to do any of that.
Yeah, no, any of our, I'm glad you brought that up because any of our opportunities to participate are completely by your choosing.
Oh, yeah.
You do not have to. You will not be shamed if you don't.
Oh, no.
You can sit out in the hall all you want.
You can.
RC.
I will, Allison and Carrie, we will talk to you
Yes.
In private.
about our experiences. Yes. Or just one-on-one if that's better than 2-on-1. You know, I understand. I've been there.
Yeah, me too.
That's good. No, that's really good.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
so passive spectator, because that's what we'd go. We'd go and we'd listen to a special speaker talk. You know, the 1 or 2 or a few speakers, we're just going to listen to them talk, gather information, and go. That's the passive spectator.
Yep.
But this is an active participant. There will be aspects of listening.
Right.
Well, but even in the listening, it's being an active participant. It's listening by faith.
Yes.
It's being open and receiving what's being shared.
Yep.
So
Yes.
there's participation in listening as well.
And more than just taking down notes is what we mean by participation.
Honestly, I was going to encourage people to not even bring a notebook. If you want to bring a notebook just to write down maybe contact information, even though you have a cell phone, you can put it in. Just
write down thoughts
get
in
the
your hotel
idea
room
of,
later.
Sure,
Yeah.
journal later. Maybe what you're exactly, but
These people are nuts.
yeah. Don't even worry about taking notes because the reality is when the life of Christ is being imparted, something is happening in your spirit,
It is.
not your head. And so sometimes, a lot of times, it actually happens in your spirit first before your mind even realizes what is happening.
What is even taking place?
Yes. And so if we're so concerned with kind of like our mind
Getting
being
it?
touched, then we can short circuit things to where it doesn't actually impart spiritually.
Yes.
And so,
Which was the difference we were talking about earlier,
Yes.
just receiving information or having something imparted to us,
Yes.
because that what's imparted to us is eternal and will not leave.
Yes.
Yep.
Feeding the spirit
It's-
versus
it's
just
feeding
feeding
us,
the mind, which is temporal and forgets.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Which is why we have to take down notes.
Yeah. We forget.
The Spirit always helps us remember what's been imparted to
Yeah.
us and even
Yes.
bring it
He's
into
keeping
fullness.
it. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So the last thing we wanted to touch on here with this reframing of conferences is this idea of going to a conference for self-help or self-improvement
Yeah.
versus going to a conference, for self-emptying.
Emptying.
Man, that's like totally different mindset.
RC, define self-help. What is that?
Well, man, it's the use of one's efforts and resources to achieve things without relying on others.
Okay. Individualism.
Yes, we've already spoken the independent versus interdependent.
Yeah.
So self-help, if I'm going, so I've already mentioned the conference that Bridget and I went to back in 2009. We went with this self-help mentality of we're going to gain this knowledge, learn how to do this organic church thing, or even just this church thing, bring it back to where we are and do it there.
Yep.
We're going to go learn how to do it, come back and do it.
Yep.
We're going to improve ourselves and help ourselves, and these guys are going to help us do it.
Yep.
Yes.
Man, what we learned was obliterated all those thoughts.
Yes.
Well, we were shown the purpose and we were offered the cross.
Yes.
That's the reality of it. The very last session, they were like, the only way to experience this glorious purpose that we have laid out before you this weekend is through the cross.
Yes.
The cross of Christ, not the one, not just the one 2,000 years ago,
The way.
but by it actually being applied to your life.
Yes.
By you laying down your life so that Christ can have this purpose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Our needs versus his needs.
Yes.
And
We were going to fill our needs.
Yeah.
And what we learned was he has a need.
he has a need. And he basically shattered my dreams. Shattered our
Yep.
dreams
Yes.
He did.
for his dream.
Ruined my life.
Yes.
Yep.
And these are wonderful things.
Yes.
At the time, they may not have felt wonderful. But when you come to realize, yes,
Yeah.
we have this glorious Christ and his purposes, which are summed up in his life, his resurrection, and also his crucifixion and his way of life, which is the way of love and giving of himself for his Father, emptying himself so his Father can come and manifest his life. And so this is an aspect of the conference too, which is coming to empty yourself of all the things that you may. This is Tyrone speaking to himself too.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yes.
you think you know, or think you may have a grasp of, so that the Lord's life can be imparted into you,
Yes.
into us, into all of us together.
Yeah.
You reminded me of something that became very clear to me and was a big shift for me was after kind of the sting of my dreams being crushed and the reality that I can't have mine and his, I have to choose, was the reality that I was choosing between something very temporal,
Hades.
and the eternal.
Faith.
And it made him...
Yes.
Temporal.
Which one is it?
Temporal,
We've
right?
had this discussion before.
Yes, on a podcast. 'cause
I thought you said
it wrong.
tempura at first, like the little tempura that you batter shrimp with and fry. Never mind.
Oh,
I was like, tempura.
We are all over the place.
Okay.
Sorry.
So,
All right.
not lasting and lasting forever. Okay. And it all of a sudden, before where they almost kind of felt like, a weight and they were kind of evenly balanced. Which one? It was all of a sudden, whoa, this one that isn't lasting compared to this one that is literally never going to end. Why would I even consider?
yes.
you know?
What's that psalm that says, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart"? We find that our dream actually comes into sync with His dream.
Yeah.
His dream becomes our dream.
His desire becomes our desire.
Yeah, His desire becomes our desire. Because as we delight in Him and we see Him in this never-ending, non-temporal purpose, we understand that, man, like Bridget was just saying, why would I want this other one? My desires then come into line with His. And that's when the Lord gives us those desires. When He is our desire, He gives us that.
Yeah, and I mean, we brought up the topic of conferences because we get hung up on these terms, but we have to call it something.
We do.
Right.
And we felt like conference people would know, okay, it's a gathering, And as we've been talking, we hope that we've clarified and even encouraged you a little bit to seek out more information about the conference and really hopefully attend it, but with the right mindset of what to expect.
Yes, that's good.
On the website, we talk about To the Saints Conference. The focus is spiritual depth, the centrality and supremacy of Jesus Christ, the ministry of life rather than information, an emphasis on knowing Christ practically and expressing Him with others in close-knit community, connecting with others of like mind and vision, and equipping God's people to fulfill His grand mission and eternal purpose in the earth.
Amen. Amen.
Yes.
So,
Yes and amen.
July 20th to the 23rd, Wyndham Garden, Austin, Texas.
Yes.
$65 for an individual, $110 for a married couple, and
Until April 30th.
Until April 30th.
That's an early bird special.
And you can register on the website. And there's also a button to click through to book the hotel room at a special rate, where you get two free breakfasts every morning at the hotel restaurant.
Yes.
Right. You can eat them both, or you can share them with somebody.
That's true.
That would be 2 buffets. So, yep.
Yep.
That's a lot of eating.
That's a lot of eating. And so the hotel special lasts for as long as we have hotel rooms.
No. Well, for as long as we have hotel rooms, or until the end of June, which is when our registration closes for the conference.
Whichever comes first.
Yep.
Yes.
So we encourage you, those who may be having a pulling on your heart or a desire to come to this conference, to register now and book your hotel room as soon as possible, because there's only a limited amount of space for us for this conference. And we just look forward to seeing the saints come out and connect and receive Christ's life and spend time with each other together for His purposes.
We're looking forward to it.
Yes.
We really are. And you can almost picture it as like a one-room What is it?
One room
Schoolhouse.
schoolhouse.
Yeah, schoolhouse. I was going to say one room schoolroom. One room schoolhouse. Where, if you are a part of an institutional church and you are just loving it, but you still want to know more of Christ and His purpose, come on.
Yes.
This conference is for you. If you are done with that system and what have you, then this conference is for you. Come on. If you want to, are you desperate? You're like, man, I am dying in the wilderness out here. Bring me to somebody, or bring somebody to me, something. This conference is for you. And if you are a part of an established group meeting together under the headship of Christ, this conference is for you. Because this is like we've just, Andrew read from the website, tothesaints.com. We're at a point, we're touching where everybody's at. This is a journey, and there are different stages in the journey. And we were at different stages in our life as well. There were times where we were still in the institution doing just fine.
Yeah.
But then the Lord put a deeper seed in there.
Yeah.
And there were times we were done with it, but we didn't know what we were going on to, where else to go.
Right.
And then there were times we were desperate, and we moved from Oklahoma to Florida to be a part of...
Or Washington State to Oklahoma.
Yes, to be a part of what the Lord is doing.
Or Indiana to Florida.
Yeah.
Yes. So cross country to cross country. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then there are times where, man, we're in it, but there's still more. When you know it and you hear it again, it's not I already know that.
Mm-mm.
That's a knowledge thing. I already knew that.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear us amening one another, and, that's good.
Yes.
That's not stuff that's brand new to us. We know that. I mean, we've been living this, but it's still, to hear it again is life to our spirit.
Yes.
Yep.
Because it feeds the Lord. It's unto the Lord.
We eat physical food often, every day.
Yes.
Probably 3 times a day.
I do.
But the thing is, there's only we eat stuff often over and over again. Like we eat spaghetti or some those what we call, me and Alice call those staples, like every so often.
Right.
And we're just like, oh God, I'm tired. This is good.
Yeah.
So we've eaten it before, and it's good this time.
Yep.
There's something new to experience of it. So if it's something that we've heard in the past that we said it was good to, it's good now, and there's refreshing. There's something new to gain from that too, because you weren't the same the last time
Right.
you had it.
Yep.
Yes.
You're a little bit further on in the
Yeah.
Lord.
That's good. We don't say, oh, I've had this before. I'm not going to eat that again.
Yeah.
That sounded like the people in the wilderness, didn't it?
Yeah.
The manna,
Got
day
tired
in
of it.
and day out.
We're tired of this stuff you keep showering down from heaven. out of nowhere,
Miraculously. Yeah.
Every day.
every day.
For 40
This
years.
water coming from a rock.
What is that?
What
That's
is-
old hat, man. That's not a big deal. This pillar of fire in the
So
sky.
come to the conference, please.
Hey, so Andrew, when does that conference start on that Thursday, the 20th?
The conference starts July 20th. Registration starts around 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
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 And then we plan on ending on Sunday, the 23rd, around 12 o'clock or so.
Yeah.
12-ish, 1-ish,
Yeah.
ish.
Ish.
It'll be good.
Yep.
So come on. ToTheSaints.com is where you can find out all that information.
Awesome.
Yes. This is RC.
This is Tyrone.
And this is Andrew.
Miss Carrie.
This is Bridget.
And this is Allison.